A year after the previous killer was caught, Jonathan returns to his normal life and his job as a detective. But one night, he receives an unexpected message signed by the previous killer. The darkness is not over. There is someone who will finish what you started. Prepare for the dark dawn. This letter was the beginning of a new series of horrific crimes. Crimes with the same pattern as the previous ones began to appear in the city, and the victims suffered from the same brutal signs. Jonathan began his investigation again with the help of his old team. Evidence suggested that the new killer was a family member of the previous killer. Jonathan began searching for any information about the killer's family, trying to find any leads that would lead him to the new criminal. During the investigation, Jonathan discovers that there is a network of hired killers operating in the shadows. The new killer may be part of this network. The crimes were characterized by precision and good planning, which made it difficult to track down the perpetrator. As Jonathan delves deeper into his investigations, he is attacked by unknown individuals. This attack was an attempt to silence him and stop his investigations. But Jonathan miraculously survives and begins to realize that this network is much more dangerous than he thought. Jonathan receives information from an unexpected source, an undercover agent within the network, who is willing to help him in exchange for protecting his family. The agent reveals that there is a leader of the network called the Shadow, who directs the assassins and organizes the crimes. With the help of the undercover agent, Jonathan was able to gather more information about the Shadow and the members of the network. He discovered that the Shadow is a member of the criminal family who is directing and supporting the former assassin. Jonathan began organizing an operation to capture the Shadow and the network members. This operation was risky, but there was a chance to stop the darkness that threatened the city. Jonathan and his team tracked the Shadow to an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. They entered the place cautiously, preparing for the final confrontation. The confrontation between Jonathan and the network members began, and the fighting was violent and intense. In the end, Jonathan was able to face the Shadow in a decisive battle. The confrontation was brutal, and the Shadow displayed terrifying fighting prowess and intelligence. But Jonathan, thanks to his determination and training, was able to overcome him. After the Shadow was captured and the network was dismantled, the city was calm again. But Jonathan never forgot those dark nights and terrifying encounters. He knew that there was always danger looming and that the darkness held many secrets. Jonathan received one last letter from the undercover agent, thanking him for helping and protecting his family. But the letter also carried a warning. The darkness is not over. There is always someone watching, and there is always someone who wants revenge. After a period of calm, Jonathan begins to receive mysterious messages indicating that a new killer has emerged in town. The messages contain gruesome details of upcoming crimes and a mysterious signature, the Second Shadow. A new series of crimes began to emerge, each one bearing the signature of the Second Shadow. The new killer was clever and able to manipulate investigations, keeping Jonathan on constant alert. During his investigations, Jonathan discovers that the Second Shadow is not just a lone assassin, but the leader of a dark alliance of several hired assassins. The alliance has been operating in the shadows, planning horrific crimes aimed at spreading chaos throughout the city. Jonathan began searching for the members of the alliance and trying to dismantle their network. The investigations were difficult and complex, but Jonathan was determined to uncover the truth and stop the coming darkness. After months of investigation, Jonathan was able to identify the Second Shadow. The new leader of the alliance was someone from Jonathan's past, someone he believed had died years ago. A confrontation between them was inevitable, and Jonathan knew it would be the most difficult confrontation of his life. The decisive night has come, and Jonathan receives a message from the Second Shadow specifying the location of the confrontation, an abandoned building in the center of the city. Jonathan cautiously enters the place, preparing for the final confrontation. The confrontation was violent and fierce, and the second shadow used every trick possible to try to stop Jonathan. But with his experience and training, Jonathan was able to overcome the new leader and the Dark Alliance. After the Dark Alliance was eliminated, peace returned to the city once again. Jonathan knew that the darkness never ends and that there will always be those who try to break the order. But with his determination and resolve, he was able to face any new threat. Jonathan began training a new team of investigators, ready to face whatever shadows might come his way. As a new dawn broke over the city, Jonathan stood on a rooftop, looking at the sunrise.